All right, y'all, let's get into the rescheduling of cannabis and tie some light together on this, okay? So, basically what has happened is the queen bee's come in and she has had the workers come in and make a new hive. And now that hive has reached billions of dollars and such, she's going to come in and take control over it, all right? And we've seen through the years the propaganda that's come into this industry, if you've been in part of that culture. But basically, we have had the lab coats, the gloves on the hands, the testing, the sterilization, the no dirt in the gardens, like whatever, growing plants without dirt, all kinds of crazy shit going on, okay? So this is part of that hanging gardens of Babylon. This is part of man not working the ground anymore and coming up off the ground and working the air. There's multiple layers to this and where we're going with these things. But the cannabis industry that we know it is a bait and switch, okay? And there's there's different things that are being stacked upon the people who have built up this industry, okay? And we've seen this industry being taken over by the corporate heads and all these things over the years, and it's about to be pulled away from you when the scheduling from 2 to 3 goes, okay? When it gets scheduled from 2 to 3, that makes the dollar being able to be used into the bank. Okay, so these dispensaries and such, they'll be able to deposit their money into the bank. Okay, now as this happens, it's gonna make everybody happy and give that false profit. Okay, but as we also have COVID coming out and the crops are lining up and the two nations dividing by the bowels and stuff, and we can see people are for cannabis or against cannabis, and all these things are going to be stacking against people. It's going to be a spiritual battle versus a carnal battle on these people, because they're going to be showing one thing, but they're going to be wanting another, and they're going to have to go against what they're being. It's all going to be good stuff, okay? So this is where people are given over to the delusion, because the delusion has been going on for decades and decades and decades. But there's been a mass delusion since at least the internet or the millennial came up, because Jesus is coming on to test men. And as he's testing men, he's judging them in righteousness. So as he's judging them in righteousness, and the right has become wrong and the wrong has become right, then they're all mixed up and out of balance, and they're going to be taken down with Satan, because the right's been flipped, and they haven't gone into the other lights and studied the other lights of the world. They've all been part of that day shift. All right, some of us gone out and studied all night long. For days and days and days, we've taken that study session. Okay? So if you haven't taken those study sessions, that where you might study all day and all night, then you might miss out on some of this exam coming up. Okay? You're probably going to fail those parts. So we've seen propaganda come in this industry. They've been doing it through recreational, create nation. You're wrecking the mind and you're creating a nation and all those other things, but they're making people believe that THC and terpenes and flavonoids, all this shit or whatever, right? Cannabis is an antigen plant. No matter which one you consume, it's going to fix what it needs to fix inside of you. You may or may not get the high. You may or may not get the low or stone or whatever, okay? It may be working on something without that, okay? The ones that do the ones that affect the head, that's more of a spiritual one, okay? The ones you don't feel are going to be more of a physical one. So the people can't handle the high one because they're so stuck down low mentally, okay? They can handle the CBDs or the CBGs or whatever, CBAs, that affect the body. They give you the relaxation or whatever, where you don't feel it in the head. Because when they start feeling it in the head is when they start getting that frequency change or whatever. Okay, and then they start thinking about what they're doing in life, or think about why they're doing it. Why am I doing this? Cannabis makes you think a lot of times, why am I doing what I'm doing? Jesus was the Most High, and he always asked the Jews why they were doing what they were doing. He's always calling out the Jews. It's the whole book of Gospels. He's calling them out. Why are y'all doing what you're doing? I'm going to do the Sabbath. I'm going to go eat the showbread. I'm going to go kick their money changers over. I'm going to whip them. I'm going to go whip your pastors. That's what he did. Basically, a dude came in, told the pastor he was wrong. Pastor said, no, I'm not. And then Jesus just started beating him. Get the hell out of here. This is my house. Good stuff. The Jews hated him for it. The people in church hate to be told they're wrong. Hate to be told that they're single God source or whatever that is wrong. Jesus said, we're all the members. So if we're all the members, it's not some single source, is it? That light spreads them out on all men. That sun is made for all of us, right? That light's made for all of us. That light hits all of us. We're all part of that living light. That light has this whole world out there for us to enjoy. So this industry is being taken over by your pharmaceutical industry, by the hospital. And as this COVID's coming back, as the crapture's setting up, the nation's dividing by the bowels and such, we're going to see cannabis at the heart of this, because it is part of that tree of life. It is part of that tree of knowledge of good and evil. It is part of that first tree that was given in Genesis 1. And that's why it has all the flavors. That's why it has all the terpenes in it, and all the effects, and all the things that it fixes in the body, and all the 20,000 uses it has in the world. And we can run... Your first car was supposedly made to run on hemp oil and whatever. So all these things, all your forefathers grew cannabis. Okay, so it's kind of telling you that if you want that America that we've always lived in kind of thing, to follow the plant. Okay, so you follow that tree of life, but that tree of life has a river on two sides, and you're gonna scare the shit out of you, because it's a spiritual versus carnal battle, and you can always grow your own cannabis. You don't have to go and get that crapture inspired variant, whatever. Okay, because what I see is they're going to set these things up, and it's going to be bam, 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 bam. It's going to be a give, and take. And as they give, the variant's going to come out over the next year or whatever, 6 months or however long, and it's going to be to where you can get it touching things or whatever. So the way they do cannabis now, the deli style or whatever, is all going to be taken away from you. It's going to have to be gone and tested and packaged and all this other stuff. And we see all these different parameters coming in, being tested in these markets or whatever, and all the strictest of whatever is all going to come into one point and create that hospital kind of culture, to where you think you got to have that white robe, white glove, white room, white garden, whatever. Okay, when you can go get the sun grown. All right, so you can get the LED grown or the artificial light, or you can get the sun grown light, and it's all the same while it's all different. Because cannabis is a unique plant, and every single seed is different. So if you think of all the seeds made every single year, there are trillions made every year. There are trillions of unborn baby boys and baby girls just waiting to be sifted through. And and then a lot of these go towards food and oil and making hemp oils and all these other things. But all these genetics are, whether it be hemp, ruderalis, or marijuana, they're all unique, all different. Same plant produces 100 seeds. Those 100 seeds will all be different. Okay. So this is why you have to hunt the stuff out. So basically, so with Philo Universe, okay, let's tie some stuff on this. Philo Universe was collecting DNA on cannabis or whatever. All this is going to be used. All this is going to be gathered and meshed together because they're going to take cannabis as it is now and make it a little different. And this is where I see like you getting your custom blend synthetic vape oils or whatever from your medical industry, your hospital, and then you're going to have your other ones that just grow your flower or whatever. So your vapes and apes, that will eventually make the ape man, the monkey man and that side, and then the other people will use the flower power kind of thing. But this is where we can see two worlds creating. But if anybody's ever done vapes versus flower, it's completely different. Completely different. But vapes are for pussies. Okay, vapes are for people who can't handle cannabis. All right, but it gets you by, I guess, if you need it for when you're out in social places or whatever, and you got to get the tootski or whatever. But otherwise, they're worthless. So it's for those lower chakra people, the ape people, because they can't handle the flower, they can't handle the full joint or whatever's going on with these people in their head, dude. We can see these things going up, and the people who've been in the industry for a while, they know it's all garbage and bullshit. The people, the millennials and the Gen Zs and Xers, whatever, they all buy, or not Xers, they grew up in the industry. The Gen Z, millennials, whatever's after all these other ones, they're eating up the high times, white lab coat, terpene test, all this bullshit. All right, they love it. All right, they're into that new pit. Okay, the thing that's been given, they're what I kind of see is a variant taking away the mom and pop dispensary styles that we have now, and then it's going to have to go into testing and be handed out through the pharmaceutical industry. Is kind of the grand scheme on this thing. So that's where they would get the money, be happy, and then they get like 1 year's tax write-off, and then maybe not even that, and then it just goes from there. Either way, y'all, it's all being set up. We can see these things, and cannabis is that tree of life that's given for the healing of nations, that has the river on two sides where you have legal and illegal. It's always going to be scheduled. It's never going to be like broccoli or cauliflower or whatever. You can just go and get it. There's always going to be some type of thing. But now we're going into a time where we're going to do like energy-based medicines and stuff, and this starts with foods and whatever. And since cannabis is an energetic food, and it can be consumed 4 different ways, the vapor, extracts, smoking, and what's the 4th one? I'm forgetting it. Anyways, that connects to the 4 heads, which is the 4 rivers of Eden and the 4 horsemen that run the earth and whatever else. So and then in order to be able to use that, especially in our world, you have to live by faith, where all sins are forgiven.